Hi everyone, we are going to get started today. My name is Catherine Jones. I'm a program manager at Equal Justice Works with our public programs unit, and today we're going to talk about summer funding opportunities for law students. At this time, I would ask that you hold your questions to the end. We'll start with Rural Summer Legal Corps, which is our new program, and then we'll talk about AmeriCorps JD. And in the middle, there'll be time for questions for Rural Corps, and then at the end, we'll do questions for AmeriCorps JD or any other additional questions. So everyone is on mute at this time, so feel free to raise your hand in the webinar if you need immediate assistance or if you can't hear me, and we'll be trying to troubleshoot the issue. So thank you for joining us today. As I said, this is an introduction to Equal Justice Works law student programs that we offer. AmeriCorps JD is year-round. However, most students do the program in the summer, and our new program, Rural Summer Legal Corps, is a revamp of a program we had way back in the 90s that we're bringing back, and with a partnership with LSC to provide some summer opportunities in rural communities nationwide. So we'll talk about eligibility for both and application deadlines. As an intro, to give you an idea, if you're unfamiliar with Equal Justice Works, our mission is to create a just society by mobilizing the next generation of lawyers committed to equal justice. We do this by funding fellowships through privately sponsored programs, and then we also get federal funding from AmeriCorps to do our national service programs. We have fellowships for postgraduates, and then we also have programs for law students to get them interested in public service earlier in their career. So the first program we're going to talk about today is Rural Summer Legal Corps. As I said, this is a new program that's a revamp from a program we had back in the 90s. It will provide 31 law students the opportunity to work in rural communities nationwide. The program requires that students work for at least 300 hours over an 8 to 10 week period. The program will run late May, early June, depending on the student's academic schedule, and will run through the summer into mid to late August, again, depending on your summer schedule. Included in this program will be the opportunity to come to DC in early June to have intensive training from property law experts around the country to get some introduction to some skill development, learning about underserved rural communities and their needs and their legal needs, and learning about the other host organizations and what other students will be doing around the country. Just as a reminder, Rural Summer Legal Corps is a collaboration between Legal Services Corporation and Equal Justice Works. Legal Services Corporation graciously is funding this, and we as Equal Justice Works will be implementing the program. You'll primarily hear from us, and when you work with your host organization here at Equal Justice Works, and myself and some other staff members whose information you'll receive at the end can be contacted with any questions. So in a second, we have a question. Yes, the question with the presentation will be emailed out, so it is being recorded. Moving on. So with Rural Summer Legal Corps, students will receive a stipend of $4,000 for their 300 hours of service. Students are more than welcome to serve more than 300 hours, but 300 is the minimum. With that, they have the option to participate in our AmeriCorps JD program as well, which would give you an education stipend of $1,212. We'll be talking more about AmeriCorps JD after Rural Summer Legal Corps, but to break down the funding a little bit more to answer some questions that have come up as we've implemented this program. If you are interested in participating in Rural Summer Legal Corps, you will automatically receive the $4,000 stipend. You have the option to participate in AmeriCorps JD or not. The reason why you wouldn't participate in AmeriCorps JD would be if you're looking to get additional funding either from your law school, public law society, any other place that you're looking to apply to get funding for this fellowship. Which is, you're more than welcome to be very advantageous and get as much as you can. But if you decide to apply to AmeriCorps JD, due to the AmeriCorps limitations, you can only receive up to $4,300 for 300 hours of service. Because of that, because of Rural Summer Legal Corps already giving you $4,000, you would only have the opportunity to earn an additional $300. So why would you choose to participate in AmeriCorps JD if you're unable to get funding from outside organizations or law school? If you're just getting that $4,000, adding AmeriCorps JD on will give you an additional $1,212 towards your summer stipend. It does come in the form of an education award. It is not a check. The AmeriCorps JD stipend, the $4,000 you'll most likely receive from your host organization, but that's still to be determined. But the education award, just to be clear, is an education award. You will get it in your My AmeriCorps account, and you'll be able to send it directly to your school. It will not be in the form of a check written to you. So again, you have the option to earn a minimum of $4,000, a maximum of however much you can get in outside funding, or the AmeriCorps JD stipend. So why would you want to participate in Rural Summer Legal Corps? You have the opportunity to gain skills and experience to carry you in your career, whether you stay in public interest or not, which we hope that you do, of course. But it's a great opportunity while you're in law school to get some experience to tack on to your studies. So a lot of what our members will be doing is direct legal services, so meeting with clients, going out into the community, going to migrant farmers, going on the Justice Bus, which is out in LA. So a lot of our organizations might be based in a rural area, in an urban area, but the work that you'll be doing will be sending you out in the rural communities surrounding that area. So that's important to remember when you're looking at all of the projects on our website. Outreach and education, like I said, just distributing fact sheets to these organizations and clients, capacity building. You're there to expand the services of this nonprofit. Most legal aid organizations in rural communities are understaffed, so they're very excited that you're going to be coming out and dedicating your summer to work with them, and have already been working up great projects to provide you with a lot of experience. To give you an example, California Rural Legal Assistance is one of our host organizations. All of our host organizations are listed on our website, which is rurallegalcorps.org. So you can log in. There it goes. If you go to our website, and you can see all of our host organizations, where they're located, and you can learn more about their projects. So you can click on one, like California Rural Legal Assistance, and when you click, you'll be able to get more information specifically about the project details, what the student will be doing for the summer, what their impact will be, and then any qualifications. It's important to read this for each organization because it varies. Most of them will require a car. Some of them do not. Some of them have actual transportation at their legal aid provider that they can let you use. Some do not. Some require language skills, but again, it's flexible. So definitely read the qualifications when you're interested in the host organization. But yeah, there's really great descriptions for each one. They all are doing really awesome work. Looks like here. And it varies really from working with migrant communities, working with Native American communities, working in mobile homes. I mean, it's across the board. So definitely take the time to look and see which organization might be of interest to you. So they'll list kind of where you'll be located and what your experience will be. So this is a really, really great one, just to give you an example. Eligibility. So this is one thing that's really important to know, and you can find more information on our website, but all students who are accepted into the Rural Summer Legal Corps must attend an Equal Justice Works member law school. What does that mean? So Equal Justice Works partners with law schools around the country. They've agreed to work with us to provide opportunities for the law students, and as a result, we set that as a requirement for our program. So I'll have the link to our website shortly in this webinar, but you can also go online to our equaljusticeworks.org and find a list of member law schools to make sure that your law school is one of them. You must have completed your first or second year of law school by the start of your summer placement. So starting in late May, early June, you must have completed either your 1L or 2L. You must be a U.S. citizen or U.S. national or lawful permanent resident. This is the same with AmeriCorps as well. We are requiring that all members pass a criminal background check. What does it look like? You'll have to pass a state and federal background check. More information about how to process those will be given to you when you're accepted. We pretty much are not going to disqualify you for minor criminal records, and basically anything that you would need to pass the bar, to pass the bar is what we're looking for. And if you have questions about that, you can definitely reach out to us. And then you must possess a valid driver's license. Basically, most students will be required to drive out to the rural communities or within their rural communities, and so having adequate transportation during the summer will most likely be necessary, but there are some host organizations who are flexible, so definitely reach out to us if that's something that you're concerned about. The process. So we're currently accepting applications now. It went live on February 3rd. We are accepting applications until February 29th. So we have just under 2 weeks left. It's a really tight turnaround. We're trying not to extend that application deadline, so please try and get your application in sooner so that you'll have a better chance of getting it reviewed sooner. Basically, the application is your demographics and your host site preferences. You get to choose 3 host sites that you're interested in. A brief bio just to have a better understanding of who you are and your previous experience, 4 general essay questions, and a resume. All of the applications are accepted through our Rural Summer Legal Corps website. So you'll go back to the website, which is rurallegalcorps.org, hit apply. There's an apply now button. You go to essentially a Google form where you'll enter in your general information, what class year you are, your preferences, and then here you can see all the questions, the essay questions. You'll just upload general PDFs and then your resume. Please be sure to notice the word maximums. We want to get a good understanding of your skills and experience, but we want to provide the host organizations the opportunity to get to know you. Interview and selection will take place during March, so after we get your resume, we will refer them out to the host organizations that you've selected for your preferences. They will review them and determine if they would like to interview you. We would like this process to take place throughout March, and then that you will be notified no later than April 1st. We would like this to get done earlier so that students can prepare if they need to move around the country or a couple states that you have time to get your affairs in order. Project start date, again, is late May through early June 2016, and it'll go through August 31st. You have up until August 31st to complete the minimum 300 hours. Again, you're more than welcome to work with more. You can talk that out through your host organization and what their expectations are. Because of the academic calendar and how some schools start later and end earlier, et cetera, we don't have a specific start date because it all really depends on the student, and we want to be flexible under your requirements for school. So those are the application process. Some general logistics. If you decide that you are applying and get accepted to an organization that's not in the community you reside in now, it will be your responsibility to obtain housing. Host organizations, most of them are more than happy to help you in this process, to refer you to different places in the community or different towns. From speaking with them, most have said that it won't necessarily be something that's difficult, especially for the summer. However, it was ultimately up to you to find and secure that housing. Again, transportation, it would be better if you have your own transportation. Some organizations do have access to cars they can loan out to you, and we can refer any of those questions to them as needed. So if you are worried about that, just let us know through email and we can get in contact with them for you. Let's see. Payment schedule is still to be determined. So more information with that will come once you're selected and in your offer letter, but you will receive the $4,000 at minimum. So now we'll open it up for questions regarding Rural Summer Legal Corps. Here you'll see the website again, our email, general email box, and then William Walker is our program assistant who handles all of the applications for this project. You can email him directly if you have specific questions, or you can reach out to him via phone. So I'm just going to review questions really quick. You can type those into the question box. So we asked, could you post a link to the Rural Corps placement site page? Yep, it's just the rurallegalcorps.org. You would go to that website and you would click, let's see, go back and show you. You would go to the Rural Summer Legal Corps website and you would select open positions. And here we list all of the different organizations that are partnering with us who are hosting students this summer. They'll have the location, they'll have the project. Again, if you are a very detail-oriented person and you want to know more, you can also select the Learn More button, which will provide you with the host site's application, so you can learn about more specific details if you're interested in that. beyond what is provided in the general summary, which is on their page. I'll give one more minute for more questions for Rural Summer Legal Corps. Unfortunately, international students are not eligible for the program with a student visa. This is basically due to AmeriCorps requirements specific to Rural Summer Legal Corps. There might be some room. If you want to email us specifically, I can follow up and see what the requirements are. But for AmeriCorps JD, which we'll talk about in a minute, you cannot be an international student. Any other questions? Looks like we have a question for, are there any Georgia placements? Let's see, I do not believe so. Again, you can definitely go onto our website. They have all of them listed, and you can have more information. There might be some. I know there's one in Tennessee, which might be close to you. West Virginia, Louisiana. So if you're willing to travel a little bit, there might be opportunities for you in the program. All right, so we're going to move along to AmeriCorps JD. Feel free to write us any questions regarding Rural Summer Legal Corps, and there'll be time at the end to talk additional questions if something comes up while you're listening. So AmeriCorps JD. AmeriCorps JD is our oldest running law student program here at Equal Justice Works. It's been around since the 90s. And it provides 755 law students with the opportunity to deliver critically needed legal assistance to low-income and underserved communities nationwide. So basically, students find their own host organization that they want to work with. So if you have an internship that you're applying to this summer, if you get accepted but they can't provide you any funding, if it falls within our qualifications, then you can apply to receive just the AmeriCorps Education Award of $1,212. Students also serve 300 hours of service before August 31st. This is a year-round program, though. So some students decide to serve both semesters, both academic semesters. They'll split the 300 hours over that, or they decide to do it all summer. If you have an organization that you're working with already, and you think they're eligible, if you apply now, you can, once you're accepted and you run your criminal history check, you can continue to serve and work towards those hours if you continue to go into the summer. What's great about AmeriCorps JD, again, you get funds for an unturned internship, you get access to our Equal Justice Works network, and become an official member of AmeriCorps. A lot of our AmeriCorps JD members go on to apply to our Equal Justice Works fellowships, and so having that connection early on is great for us to get to know you a little bit and shows that you're truly interested in public service, which we value at our organization. Similar activities to what the Rural Summer Legal Corps will be doing. Again, direct legal services including client intake, witness interviews, doing interviews over the phone, doing law clinics, legal clinics interviews, outreach and education, going around to different organizations in the community, talking about what your host organization does, capacity building, doing assessments, doing research, doing organizing related to focus groups. The only difference with AmeriCorps JD versus Rural Summer Legal Corps is that you cannot participate in any of the AmeriCorps prohibited activities. What this means is the Corporation for National Community Service puts out a list of prohibited activities for members participating in their AmeriCorps programs. It looks like my link is not working. Which is fine. But basically, the ones that really to keep in mind are anything related to legislative work, so policy work, so advocating for specific policies or laws, changes in laws, doing research regarding issues related to one side or the other. AmeriCorps is a nonpartisan organization, and because of that, they can't have you working towards any specific issue. Direct organizing out in the community is prohibited, working with unions, Sometimes your organization itself might do this work, but as long as you yourself are not doing it, that's okay. So if you have a question about whether or not your organization qualifies, please feel free to shoot us an email, and we can kind of look into the organization a little bit and look into the work that you're doing. And you can always Google AmeriCorps Prohibited Activities. It'll come right up, and you can see if the work that you're doing falls under those. Eligibility, again, you must attend an Equal Justice Works member law school. To see the link on our website, you would go to equaljusticeworks.org under our law school, and you'll see our law school members. So here are all the schools that are currently partnering with us that would allow you to be eligible. So it's a pretty long list, majority of schools. If you don't see your school on here and you're wondering whether or not it's a partner school, just feel free to email us and we can double check with our law school engagement and advocacy unit. You have to secure your own placement. So what's different about AmeriCorps JD is it really is just a program to fund public interest internships. So you have to find a host organization. You have to be eligible based on the work that you're doing, and you apply. So it's really in your own hands whether or not you want to get the award. You cannot receive academic credit for the same service. So the ABA does not allow law students to receive funding for the same service that they're receiving academic credit for. So this also relates to Rural Summer Legal Corps. If you wanted to tack on AmeriCorps JD, you could not be getting academic credit at your school for the work that you're doing. You must be a U.S. citizen, U.S. national. You must pass a criminal history check. Again, most applicants are not disqualified for these records, but it's part of AmeriCorps requirements that we have to process a state and FBI background check. We will help you in that process, giving you instructions, and a lot of the ones we can process on our own. Funding restrictions specific to AmeriCorps JD. You cannot be receiving an hourly wage compensation from your organization. So if you're getting, if you're getting an internship that you're getting paid, but it falls under $4,300, it cannot be an hourly wage. So you have to get, a biweekly stipend chunk, a stipend at the end, a general scholarship, that type of thing. You cannot be receiving an hourly wage check. Some students in the past have contacted us who are receiving hourly wages and then have worked with their host organizations to switch to a stipend based on, doing the math, saying, oh, I get $10 an hour, I'm doing 300 hours of service, I'll get $3 grand for the summer. That's fine as long as they don't pay you an hourly wage throughout the summer. Federal work study is excluded from this. So if you're receiving work study for your internship, then as long as it's under $4,300, it's fine that you receive it for an hourly wage. So there is a little bit of confusion that can occur around this. If you have any questions, feel free to email us. Application process. So it's a lot easier than Rural Summer Legal Corps. Basically, you secure your host organization. Then you go into our student application manager and you enter in that information. You upload an ID and resume. You sign our criminal history check release member service agreement, and then submit your application. Your host supervisor will have to sign off on the member service agreement, and then we'll review your application. If you're interested in doing the program but you don't have a host organization yet, we have organizations listed on our website by state. So all of these legal aid providers have stated that they would love to host AmeriCorps JD students at any time. Their contact information is on the website, as well as links to their website, and you can feel free to reach out to them. Most of these organizations have worked with us in the past and have had success with students and are always looking for more students to help them. But again, if you already have a host organization that you're thinking about, most organizations, if they're doing legal aid work, are eligible, or doing legal work that isn't against the prohibited activities. Only disqualifying organizations include internationally focused or internationally based organizations. Because this is an AmeriCorps program, the focus of the work that you're doing should focus on work that's happening in the U.S. Organizations primarily engaged in lobbying or impact litigation, because AmeriCorps prohibits lobbying and has to remain nonpartisan. If that's the work that you were doing and that's the only work that your host organization is doing, they most likely would be ineligible. For-profit entities, including private law firms of any sort. Because of AmeriCorps and the work that we are promoting, we would like your organization to be a legal aid organization or an organization that's providing services to underserved communities or low-income individuals. More information can be found on our website. We also have an application guide, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. So once you find your host organization, you talk to them about AmeriCorps AD, they're like, sounds like great, I would love to help you out to get this education award. You would start your application in SAM, what we call SAM, which is the Student Application Manager. And the website is info.equaljusticeworks.org, and then you would select the Student Application Manager. This is what it looks like. You'll create a login. The web portal will walk you through the application process. Again, it'll just be your general demographics and host site information. Be sure to have your photo ID and resume available to upload. You will not be able to move forward in the application or submit the application without those. If your host organization is uncertain about some of the requirements in the member service agreement, please encourage them to reach out to us. We're always happy to troubleshoot any issues or talk to them about what's in the member service agreement. Most of the time, we cannot change anything that's in the member service agreement, but sometimes there's issues with the time, the dates that you enter that you're going to be working there, or the amount of money that you're getting. All of the things can be changed, so please feel free to reach out to us. Priority deadline is April 15th, and the file deadline is June 3rd. So in order to receive your $1,212 education award, you must do the following. These are AmeriCorps requirements. We will not be able to grant you the award without doing so. This award does not come from us, Equal Justice Works. It comes from Corporation for National Community Service, which is a federal entity. And because of this, we have to have all of these completed in order to allow them to pay you the award. So you must complete the 300 hours at minimum by August 31st. You must ensure the completion of a state and federal criminal history check, which we will help you with processing that check. We will reimburse you for any costs related to that check if needed. You have to document your service hours in SAM, and you have to ensure that your time logs are certified by both you and your supervisor. It's a very simple process. You enter your hours in SAM. You'll learn how to do this in the orientation that we provide in a webinar, and you'll just send automated emails to your supervisor to ask them to certify. And then once you've completed your 300 hours, you'll complete exit documentation and a final report, just generally looking at some numbers so we can see the work that you did and all the impact that you made in your community. So that's it for AmeriCorps JD. It's pretty straightforward. Again, here's the website for AmeriCorps JD for Equal Justice Works, as well as our email box. If you have any general questions, you can always reach out to our program staff, Michaela. That's our information there. If you have any questions, you can always give us a call. We're happy to speak with you and resolve any issues. So at this time, we'll take any questions related to AmeriCorps JD or any questions that may have come up throughout the JD introduction regarding rural summer legal corps. Well, it looks like we don't have any more questions, so feel free to reach out to us. Again, we'll be emailing out the slides as well as the recording, and you can feel free to share with any other law students or individuals at your organization or law school. And we'll be posting this on our website as well if you have any questions. Always reach out to us. We're here to help. We're happy to produce the Rural Summer Legal Corps this summer, and we're hoping it's going to be a great success. So thanks for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day. Oh, one question. Thank you.